Gracie and Lacy Miller are sisters, and they're Charleston's most powerful dance and vocal duo. I talk one-on-one with the sisters about what they're doing right now for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Gracie and Lacy Miller, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. So good to see you, Quintin. Good
Likewise.
to see you.
Likewise. You know, I just went back a few seconds ago and looked at our interview that I did with you all for Quintin's Close-Ups 4 years ago.
Oh
That's
my
right.
God. We were wearing our glittery outfits for the Christmas show coming up.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I know that since that time, you all have been extremely busy. Of course, you are sisters. You're singers, dancers, hostess, and powerful vocalists who have been dazzling audience for years. So let me ask you, what's new? What's down with Gracie and Lacy?
Yes. So we're so excited. You know, COVID kind of gave us a chance to step back and evaluate our business, our goals, and kind of a blessing in disguise just allowed us to really hone in on what we love. And so I started collaborating with Gracie on a children's book about our backstory. I think you recall that we got started in show business doing shows in our driveway with bedsheet curtains, and we have gone into so many schools and told the story and are just finding that kids are reacting to this story, and they're going home and they're putting on driveway shows, and they're getting excited about their dreams and thinking, you know, we could do this. This is possible. And that's really what we want our story to be used for. So in the process of pitching that book to publishers, about our backstory and geared toward kids, just inspiring. You can do a lot with a little. That's what we want them to know. You know, we didn't start out with a budget. We didn't start out with a lot of resources, but you know, with hard work and a lot of prayer, you can get a lot done.
Absolutely. And Lacy, you know, obviously, Gracie, I'm sorry, your sister basically just told about how COVID has allowed you all to evaluate the things that you want to, you know, hone in on, which basically you love. So what have you actually honed in on in the past 3 years when it comes to COVID?
Yeah. So one thing that we had really been wanting to do was just build our music library and expand the arrangements that we can perform to. And so just coming out of COVID, we were able to connect with a really great saxophone player, John Phillips, and he's been doing some really great arrangements for the 6-piece. So now we can offer our clients the Gracie and Lacy show with the jazz trio or the 6-piece. So we're so excited. It's really fun when we have the horn section, and we did a big show on New Year's Eve at the Queen Street Playhouse, and Lacy and I, we were like, how can we get these musicians? They're going to be booked on New Year's Eve. And so we did a 5:00 show because of course they were all playing all night long. And we were like, well, we want to get home to bed early.
Yes.
And then Lacy said, well, basically we're getting the band while they're still fresh.
Right. Exactly.
So we got to try out several of the new arrangements at the New Year's Eve show. Yeah. At the Queen Street Playhouse. And then Lacy, she's been doing a lot of originals, and she plays the guitar and writes these songs. She's just written like 100 songs over the past couple of years, and one of them we got to perform in the New Year's show, and John Phillips arranged it, and it's called "We're Gonna Have to Move to Mars Because the World is So Crazy."
And that's probably a safe place right now.
Right.
So let me ask you, ladies, from obviously New Year's Eve to right now, what is inside your music library?
Yeah.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, so we're excited because in addition to Mars, we have had another Lacy original, a song called There Is Hope, that's been arranged for the 6-piece, and we're just systematically wanting to introduce the original songs on the highest level that we can to our audience. We'll do shows primarily for an audience that's asking for the Great American Songbook or classic jazz or Broadway show tunes, which we love. But we're also finding it's just a nice segue to be able to tell a little bit of our personal story when we have an original song. So we've got Lullaby of Broadway, and of course we have Big Spender and some really fun tunes. But we do like to meld the originals with the Great American Songbook. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let me ask you, Lacy, with your personal stories, how have those stories related with your musical audience?
Absolutely. It's interesting. We make our living off of other people's music that people know and is familiar, but I have started to receive a lot of feedback from people that say, oh my goodness, I can relate to that story. I wrote a song a while back called Flowers in the Water about losing my dad, and I got flooded with emails just about that song and how parts of my story resonated, or just having watched my parents go through a separation growing up. That inspired one of my songs that I'm getting ready to release called One More Dance. And people have lived these things, and sometimes we kind of hide the harder parts of our life. And after COVID, I was like, well, this is my life and this is what it is. And if the hard things make us feel more real and can help people relate and feel like there is hope. And that's the story behind the song, There Is Hope, because that's what we really believe, that everybody goes through stuff, but there's hope at the end of the day. Like, God looks out for us and makes us stronger through all these things. And so that's why I'm sneakily putting original music in the shows along the way. And Gracie's a great help when it comes to arranging those and communicating with the musicians on that. That's her strong suit. So we're a good team.
I hate to be emotional and hate to go so personal, but if you were to have a show at the Queen Street Playhouse right now in dedication of your father, what would the title be, and what songs would you play for him?
Wow. It would be called Flowers in the Water, because my relationship with my dad was very complicated, and there was a lot of mental illness that he struggled with. And I wrote the song because he passed away with a lot of unforgiveness. And so the relationship was broken when he passed away. And I went to Shem Creek, where the boardwalk goes out over the water. And we, our family gathered, and we had some flowers, and we dropped them in the water at Shem Creek to signify that we were letting go of the pain and that we were saying goodbye to him. And it was such an impactful moment that I went home and wrote Flowers in the Water. And so that song is really, it hits an emotional nerve. I would definitely put that song in the show. I would definitely put some songs in the show like the Charleston theme, because Charleston represented a lot of healing from that. So I've written songs from Folly Boat to the Morris Island Lighthouse, and there's one that I can't wait to release this one. It's called The Coburg Cow. If you hear this song, you just think it's a fun little pop song. But if you live in Charleston, you know exactly what the song is about. And I used to live near that Coburg Cow, so it inspired the song. I would definitely put that in the show. I would love to just weave in these songs of hope and faith that have just kept us going over the years. I have a song called The Wall. That would definitely be in the show in tribute to my dad, because whenever difficult things have happened in my life, I'll draw, and I'm not a really good artist, but I'll draw a picture of it on the wall. Or in this case, I would use dry erase markers on my dryer. So if you looked at my dryer, you would see pictures of all of these events that happened. And as soon as a picture went up on the dryer, it meant that I was healing from that situation. And I started to write a song about it. And I'm like, well, who wants to hear a song about my dryer? So I called the dryer The Wall. So it's a song all about, if you're on that wall, you should know, since the last time we met, I have grown. And so that song's another one that's just a big part of healing and hope. And that would certainly be in that concert.
And Gracie, when you go to your sister's house, what do you generally draw on that dryer?
Oh yeah, I drew on the dryer too.
She's my roommate. We're roommates.
Okay.
Yes, there were days where I was like, Lacy, I need a marker. Something's going on the dryer. It's happened.
Yes,
It,
yes,
yeah.
it has to happen. And talk to me about those musicians that you all have worked with. I know that you worked with a lot of them over the past couple of months, and they obviously helped you all with original music. What's that one musician here in Charleston that you want to collaborate with when it comes to original music?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know who we would love to perform with. And I know Lacy performed with him singing a duet years ago, but we would love to have Charlton Singleton.
Sure.
We'd love to share the stage with him again. I know that would be wonderful. Lacy sang with him years ago, a Christmas concert, but you know, he is busy. He just won another Grammy, and I know we're all so excited about that.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm trying to give him some time so that I can try to get an interview with him next week.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait to hear that interview.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And when you think about original music and obviously music itself, ladies, what are those jazz standards and classic pop today in your mind?
When we're thinking about, sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Oh, no worries. I know that you all love jazz and you all love classic pop, that is, with your genre of music. So what are those jazz standards and classic pop today that you totally love?
Oh, well, we love things by like Gloria Gaynor, Whitney Houston, Carole King. One of my favorite songs with the band is "I Will Survive," and I think it was a perfect song for coming out of COVID. We love that. I love Alicia Keys, "If I Ain't Got You." Songs like that have the same essence of the Great American Songbook. There's a sweetness and just a wholesomeness to the lyrics of the jazz standards that's just such a lost art in especially love songs, but just music in general. And I've noticed some of these artists that we love that I mentioned, their music reflects that in the spirit of the music and the lyrics of the music. And it's also just totally fun to sing and harmonize too.
Absolutely. So when it comes to Charlton Singleton, how is this music resonating with your audience?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, I think that we share a love for a lot of the greats that made the music that we love. And of course we love, you know, Louis Armstrong and
Yes.
Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald
Yes.
and Doris Day, and a lot of those singers really put the music we love on the map. I mean, Louis Armstrong, he was told, don't record It's a Wonderful World. That's a very bad idea. It's not going to go anywhere. And he knew inside that he needed to do that song. And it's incredible to think that the people that actually recorded the songs or got the opportunity to be in a movie with these songs kind of made it possible for us to hear and remember this music. And so I think that the Great American Songbook, it lives on. And of course, Charlton Singleton, you know, he will perform that genre. We love that genre. It's just timeless, you know?
And,
Mhm.
and Lacey, I want to know this too. What songs have you all been told not to sing, but you sung anyways?
Ooh, I like that. You know, a lot of the really old, like 1920s songs, we have snuck them into the show because we got our inspiration as little girls, for whatever reason, from watching old classic Hollywood films, a lot of black and white movies. And so we love these really old songs that nobody knows, nobody seems to care about anymore. But I think that those are some songs that will slip in. A lot of times we'll trick the audience by making it sound more modern than it is. But I think as far as that goes, keeping our content fresh and up to date is definitely something that we would be consulted to do, even though we have such a love for the really old music.
Yes. And what else do you want to add to your content next?
Yes, you want to take that one, Gracie?
Yeah. Well, I think what we would really love to do is expand on performing with symphonies.
Yes.
We've gotten to do that and enjoy it very much. And so definitely expanding on that work. Golly, we do a lot of corporate work right now. So we'll have a corporate company call us and say, can you perform in front of the fish tank at the aquarium? Or can you come to NASA and perform for the astronauts? And we just enjoy the variety so much of the corporate work. We have some projects that we would like to produce in New York City. We have a musical that we co-wrote years ago about the illustrator Norman Rockwell, and particularly about his Four Freedoms paintings that he painted during the war effort. And I would love to move forward with that project. It's been produced several times in St. Louis. We produced a concert version here for Piccolo Spoleto, but we've revamped the script, and that needs to be produced again. Lacy has a book that she's written that is going to be moving forward. Do you want to talk about that, Lacy?
Sure. So, kind of circling back, I think we mentioned a little at the beginning about it, but that would really help bring a lot of meaning to everything that we do, because passing on the baton to the next generation is so important to us. And a big part of putting a book together kind of shows the miracle in how we came to do what we love to do. And over the years, we started doing these musicals on our driveway, and believe it or not, people started to come to these musicals, and pretty soon the neighborhood was telling everybody about it, and we were starting to cause some traffic problems. And the police came and shut us down. Can you believe that, Quintin? They came, and Gracie and I were probably 10 or 12 at the time, and we were freaking out because, we didn't get in trouble with the police,
right,
as little girls. And so we were freaking out, and they said, it's time to move Broadway off the driveway. So we kept the name, Broadway in the Driveway, moved off the driveway, started producing shows, and then started teaching a lot of theater classes as we got into high school. And our touring just kind of spiraled from that. And as we decided we wanted to move to Charleston from St. Louis, we were really excited to see that a spin-off group of Broadway in the Driveway called Act Two was doing musicals on their driveway. And today, there is still a group called Take Three that is another spin-off of the original Broadway on the Driveway. And so it's really exciting and special to us to work on a project that would resonate with 3 theater companies that all kind of have their same roots in the same place. And just, I think it'd be special for the kids that now have kids that were in those original shows, and hopefully just inspire people and just give some hope, especially to young people that don't have a lot of resources and think that they can't make a difference.
If you were to bring your Broadway music to your driveway, what would those songs be?
Oh, gee, if we were to bring Broadway music back to our driveway, you know what I would sing something from My Fair Lady. I would probably sing Wouldn't It Be Loverly from My Fair Lady. Yes. We
had a signature song that we would teach all of our students called Give My Regards to Broadway. And several rounds of young people learned the same choreography. And I think it would be fun one day to have a reunion and have everybody perform that Give My Regards to Broadway together.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. So in your mind, from a musical standpoint, ladies, what is the state of Broadway music?
Oh,
that's a great question.
Music. I love that question. So I think that we always go back to our roots, but there's this blend of going back to our roots and remembering what a traditional musical is made of. They used to be musical comedies, which meant they were always just funny and lighthearted. And then I think it was Showboat, 1927, Jerome Kern. That was the very first musical where people started to try to write about things that were real, that people were dealing with, and it wasn't necessarily a comedy anymore. Today, I think a really big part of it is what is going to sell the tickets. what will sell. And so I see a lot of revivals happening on Broadway, where they take music, kind of like Lacy was talking about, and they spice it up and jazz it up a little bit, and cut some things out, put some new things in, and try to make it a little more relatable for people.
Adding some kind of hip hop and some rap in there. I think because that's what the kids are doing. If you look on TikTok, you want something that the generation that's going to be buying the next round of tickets is going to want to go to. A lot of times, Gracie teaches a lot of musical theater classes, and a lot of times her students will look at her really suspiciously and say, "Miss Gracie, what year was that song written?" Because they get suspicious that she's teaching them old-fashioned music instead of the hip modern music. So we definitely have seen a change. We grew up on the classics, the Rodgers and Hammerstein, like The Sound of Music, and we love shows like Fiddler on the Roof and Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella and The Music Man. Those are the songs that really influenced our style, but we're learning to love the new things that are coming out, and the flavor of the music has changed. There's a lot of energy in the newer musicals that we're liking, especially from a dance standpoint.
So what else has influenced you musically?
Well, the other night we were just talking about this. Lacy and I, we decided we just needed to watch a black and white movie, and so we picked Casablanca. And I was really happy. It was just as great as I remembered it when the last time I saw it. I would watch Casablanca with Lacy when we were kids, like 10 and 12 years old. We just loved that movie. And while we were listening, of course, there was this Time Goes By song that's so beautiful. And we started listening. The underscore that was played underneath the dialogue was all of this Great American Songbook music. And I feel like that has been such an inspiration. We were just realizing, oh my gosh, we can name almost every single song in this movie. But Casablanca, I feel like that really showcases that era in a really subtle way with a beautiful story. And Humphrey Bogart.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Which one of your songs, ladies, actually showcase the best of you?
Oh, that's a great question.
My all-time favorite solo song of all time is Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You," written by one of my favorite songwriters, Dolly Parton. So two great ladies and their work to sing that song and to think about both of them and their contributions to music is really powerful. And also just knowing that song wasn't initially a love song. It was a song that Dolly Parton had written after having to change directions in a business relationship. And it's just such a powerful song, the way it's arranged. What Whitney Houston did with the arrangement is the style that I sing the song in. And to have that be in the show, it highlights two of my great musical heroes, and I love it. So.
Yes. And shout out to Dolly Parton in Nashville. I love Nashville.
Yeah, love it. Did you go to all the museums?
I haven't been to all of them yet. I've just been to the Rhyme, and that's it.
I love it.
Yeah, but I'm going back in 2 weeks, so we'll see what I can do.
Hey, awesome.
Yes, ma'am. Speaking of change in direction, what's changed has been in your direction as far as music?
I think a really big change is, of course, when we were little girls, we performed to a lot of track music, and people still want that from time to time. They'll say, we have a really small space and we cannot accommodate your band. But I would say that the biggest thing that's changed is just implementing more and more of the live music. And it's so fun. I feel like it brings the audience in even more, because anything can happen with live music. You get off the beaten path sometimes and you go a different direction, and that's been fun. That's been really fun. We just give a spontaneous solo to the saxophone or the trombone on the fly, and they're so talented. They just take it and run with it. But yeah, I would say live music.
Wow. Of course, you see that all the time in Nashville and Austin, of course. But Lacy, let me ask you this. Who is your audience today?
That is such a great question. We ask ourselves that a lot. We have an audience that is newer than our pre-COVID audience. Historically, when we started out, our audience was primarily people that remembered this music from playing it on records, the old standards. And so a lot of our original audience, they were senior citizens or their children who grew up listening to the music that their parents loved. And I can't tell you how many times we will sing a song like It Had to Be You, that's an old classic, and someone will come up with tears streaming down their face and say, that song my mother used to play. Or we'll sing Unforgettable, and somebody will say, oh my goodness, my dad used to listen to this. So it's interesting. It's either the people that remember when it came out or the children who have really fond memories attached to it. What's crazy, though, is that we have found by doing a lot of school residencies that our YouTube channel goes like crazy right after school, because those kids, they go online and they want to hear more music. And so we've started to notice this rise in children looking us up online, and we've even gotten some phone calls from voicemails from little children inviting us to be performing at their birthday parties. And we have to say, well, we need to talk to your parents about that. But so it's interesting to see, and suddenly we have all of these young people that want to learn the music from that era, and they're starting to think it's cool. So we're excited about that younger generation popping up, because it's just special to share the music with them, and they've never heard it before.
And what music haven't heard before that you want to actually play on the stage?
Well, we have. I guess for me, I know there are arrangements of music that Lacy's written that I would love to hear. I've heard her on the guitar, but I know that she has orchestration in her head, and I would love to be able to share that with our audience. As far as music that we have never heard, I do think that there are a lot of different genres that we could make our own. Obviously, we've begun taking pop music and figuring out how to make that our own. Lacy loves a lot of country music, and so I really think that having that huge variety of music, people can come and hear something that they love and can relate to. And I don't think we have to stick with one particular genre. Basically, we just want to sing whatever we want.
Yes.
Away with it.
Well, that's really, really amazing. So what else do you want to sing next?
I would like to write more music that incorporates our tight harmonies, and I have a few songs in the works that have those tight harmonies, but that's something that is unique to Gracie and I being sisters. When I harmonize with other people, it's lovely and I enjoy it, but when I harmonize with my sister, there is like an exact vibrato match and like a timbre match that you just can't get anywhere else. And so that has been really special. So I want to highlight that in the original music. I've written some songs, one in particular called Fly to Heaven, which is about losing a loved one. And that one is a 3-part harmony. So it would be neat to bring in, we'll adopt a third sister for that one. But I'd love to incorporate more that showcases that, because it's just something unique that we have as sisters.
Oh, yes, and absolutely. And being sisters, what else have you been able to do musically that you can't do with somebody else?
I think we have like this unspoken connection on stage. Sometimes, life happens and you don't get to like go to the studio and rehearse for every single show, for the length of time that you want. Sometimes it's literally a cell phone recording. Here's the new arrangement. I know I'm not going to see you till next week, but practice your part and I'll practice mine and we'll come together.
Right.
The show. But yeah, it's nice because I know how Lacy thinks, and she knows how I think. Oftentimes, I'll tend to be the roadmap person. Like I know when we're heading up to a bridge, or when we're going to the coda. And Lacy, she knows
lost.
Lacy knows how to, decorate everything, and she adds a lot of really fun riffs that just decorate the song. And I just kind of know when she's going to start doing that, so I fade away and let her do her thing, and we come back, and we have to like really feel it on stage, because sometimes we might sing something a little bit differently in a live show than we did when we practiced. We just listen to each other really carefully.
So what are those unique things when it comes to the practices and actually being on the stage?
I think that the cool thing about Gracie and I is that we've worked together so long that we kind of have developed a really good working relationship, where we know what needs to be done, we know who needs to do what, cover what bases. And then when we're performing, it's funny, when we're performing with a jazz band or a jazz combo, what's awesome about that is that if you get lost, they follow you. When you're performing with a symphony, you basically derail 100 people. So the pressure definitely goes up for rehearsing for things with a larger orchestra, as opposed to our jazz combo, where we can wing it if we have to. If somebody asks for a special request, you just wing it. You put your all into it, and I think that's something that I love about Gracie, is that we both know, like, when that moment comes, we're going to have to wing something, or we're going to have to just put something in there at the last minute to make somebody's day. Special requests that we know how to read each other. We kind of know, like, okay, she's going to sing this verse, and I'll take this verse, and we kind of know who's going to jump on which harmonies, and it's just come from years and years of working together, and that's irreplaceable in my view, to find somebody that you can work with in business and on stage in that way. So we're very fortunate to have that.
And being on the stage, ladies, what are those other musical pressures that you really have to deal with?
It's so funny. Every time we finally get to the point where we're going on stage, I look at Lacy and I'll just say, okay, now it's the fun part. We can finally relax. We've done all the contracts. We've gotten all the music together. We've done all the networking, all the advertising. Oh, now it's just the fun part. And it's interesting, because a long time ago, I remember I would show up at an event and realize, oh, it's this kind of an event. It's a dinner for diplomats, and His Grace and His Excellency are in the audience. Oh my gosh. And you just feel like you don't want to disappoint people. And so I have had those times where we've both felt, oh, we've got, a migraine on stage, not feeling great, but we have to, make people happy. But I think after so many years of doing it, it gets to the point where it's just like, I am so grateful to be able to, sing tonight. I'm just so grateful, and it makes it more fun.
Absolutely. And I know that you all have been together, musically for 25 years and obviously longer as sisters. But what is the biggest difference about music from 25 years ago to right now?
It's really good. We have definitely increased our vocal ranges. When we first started out, we started gigging 50 to 75 shows a year, which for young vocal cords can take a toll on your voices. So we were so fortunate to get to train with Diane Huber, who was former president of the Sweet Adelines International, and she took us under her wing, and she's like, I'm going to teach you how to not hurt your voices. So I think from those early years, we were just belting it out, singing our hearts out. We thought good and loud, that's what the people want to hear. So we started off that way, and she really taught us how to add more dynamic, how to sing in a way that she always said, you'll be able to sing till you're 100 if you follow these techniques. So we've definitely gained a lot from her, and her focus on a cappella women's music helped us to really train our ears towards pitch, which is very helpful with our harmonies, so that we're not getting off key slightly and ruining the harmonies. So she was a big influencer in that way, and so that helped us evolve into the singers that we are today, and I'm very grateful for her.
Hey, Gracie?
Yeah, so music music 25 years ago. It's funny how Lacy mentioned that our ranges have increased. We used to have a machine called a key changer. And so because everything we sang had to sound good on stage, it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this in voice lessons, I just need to increase my range and challenge myself. It was like, no time for that. It better sound good. So I would often hit the key change button and go a couple half steps lower so that I wouldn't have a break and all my, sound would be right. And we would do that a lot. But as we've continued singing throughout the years, we've been given challenges by clients and people that ask us to perform certain things. And we've been able to just say a little prayer, trust the Lord, and really jumping into songs that maybe we thought were not, written for us, realizing, oh, we can sing that, piece that's got a more classical feel, or maybe a more cultured sound than the typical, jazz piece that we're used to, or the Broadway sound, or even the pop music or the country. Lacy can do so many different things with her voice. It's not even funny. Sometimes I don't even know who she is. No. No, she's got like a million character voices. So I feel like being brave and being able to do something different on stage that people don't expect you to do, or that you think they don't want you to do, if you believe in it or you love it and you think it's beautiful, that will resonate for the audience, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And, we love what you all have done here in the Lowcountry. Thank you for your public service and dedication to this community as well.
Thank you, Quintin.
Thank you. We appreciate you too. I know people in town say, if I don't hear from Quintin in a while, I worry that I'm not doing something right. People know that if they're doing something good if Quintin's calling. So.
It's a lot of time. I'm so busy with other interviews, and I'm booking these interviews months in advance, so I can't get to those people.
Wow,
that's awesome. Definitely a Charleston treasure. Most cities don't have this, so we're thankful to have you here and getting the real stories from people.
Oh yes, ma'am, and you all are Charleston treasures as well. So we thank you for your dedication to the city.
Oh, thank you, Quintin.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Yes, Gracie and Lacy Miller with Gracie and Lacy. Thank you for your time here on Quintin's Close-Ups again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.